Let me just state for the record that I have a soft spot for Merlin Olsen. Growing up, I knew that this feller, who I was seeing almost every week on TV, had been an amazing football player. But way back then, he was just good old Jonathan Garvey on Little House on the Prairie. Merlin landed that role when actor Victor French, aka Mr. Edwards, left the show to star in the sitcom Carter Country for ABC. So why the soft spot for Merlin? Well, Merlin was born and raised in Logan, Utah, which is about an hour away from where I grew up. These days I have two sons that are attending Utah State University, which is located in Logan, and is the school that Merlin attended. And I am reminded of that fact every time that I watch a Utah State football game and notice that the field is named after him. Merlin is revered in Logan. It's that age-old story of a hometown boy who makes good due to immense determination and sheer willpower. As I conducted research for this video, more than once I encountered an article where someone would say something like, Merlin could have done anything if he set his mind to it. But getting back to his acting career. Prior to Little House on the Prairie, Merlin had appeared in the John Wayne movie The Undefeated in 1969, and then in a single episode of Petticoat Junction a year later. Merlin didn't act that much during that time because he was still focusing on his career as an all-pro defensive lineman for the Los Angeles Rams. However, after retiring from the NFL, Merlin doubled down on pursuing acting roles as well as being a sports broadcaster. I have already mentioned Merlin's role on Little House on the Prairie. He joined that show in 1977, I believe, and I should acknowledge that filling Victor French's shoes, well, it was no small task. The character of Mr. Edwards was beloved by fans of that show. That said, Merlin's character was so well received that when Victor French returned to Little House on the Prairie, show producer Michael Landon began thinking about how else he could leverage Merlin. And in 1981, Merlin got his own show called Father Murphy, which ran for 2 seasons on NBC. In that show, Merlin's character disguises himself as a priest to help a group of orphans who are being threatened with being sent to a poorhouse destined for a life of labor. After Father Murphy ended, Merlin's next role was in the TV movie Time Bomb, a film that he co-starred in with Lando Calrissian himself, Billy D. Williams. You gotta love the tagline, Morgan Fairchild will blow you away. Isn't that what her boyfriend Tommy Flanagan was always saying? Folks, if you don't get that one, well, you're probably under the age of 50. Let's just move on. After that, Merlin starred in the very short-lived NBC sitcom Fathers and Sons. I think that one only ran for 4 episodes. And then another family drama on NBC called Aaron's Way about an Amish family that moves to California. I actually really liked this show a lot, but apparently not too many others did because that show only ran for 14 episodes before the network gave it the axe. It is important to note that during all of Merlin's acting roles, he was still working as a sports broadcaster on the weekends. Merlin was incredibly articulate and highly sought after as a color commentator during football games. Returning to Merlin's football career for just a moment, it is also critical to mention that he was inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame in 1982, and in 1999 the Sporting News included him in their list of the top 100 greatest football players of all time. Sadly, in 2009, Merlin was diagnosed with mesothelioma, type of cancer that's caused by asbestos. Always the fighter, over the course of the next year he underwent 3 rounds of chemo, all to no avail, because he passed away in 2010 at the far too young age of 69. While that was truly a tragic thing, it's more important to remember that Merlin's life was anything but tragic. In fact, his life was a great triumph. Perhaps Merlin's younger brother Phil, who was also one of his Los Angeles Rams teammates, said it best when he told the journalist that Merlin really felt like he'd lived his life and that he had done all of the things that he had ever wanted to. Putting acting and sports aside for a moment, Merlin had found the love of his life while attending Utah State University. He married her and remained married for 48 years. And together, they raised 3 great, wonderful children who have become equally great adults. In short, Merlin had 0 regrets. And when our final day comes, and trust me folks, it's going to, whether we want it to or not, isn't a life well lived really what we all hope to accomplish as well?
Tuesday on Father Murphy.
What's in there?
An accident in the mine shaft
Start digging.
becomes Murphy's greatest challenge. Then,
I've always had a preference for the lady.
a winning hand with an unknown jackpot wins Brett Maverick a young girl.
Perhaps you don't consider buying a woman to be out-and-out slavery.
James Garner is Brett Maverick after Father Murphy, Tuesday.
Hey, what you eating? A neat candy bar. Boy, is it crispy. Sounds good. It smells peanutty. What do you call it? Whatchamacallit. Whatchamacallit? That's right. What's right? The name. What name? Whatchamacallit. You forgot the name?
Whatchamacallit, the totally different crunchy bar of peanutty tasting crisp drenched in chocolate. Whatchamacallit from Hershey. You can ask for it by name.
Can I have some of that? Some of what?
Thank you all for standing by through and through. It's the kind of strength that lifts the shadows too. And all I gotta say is thank you.
Click on that thumbnail cause it's time to go. Dave's got the classics, let the memories flow. TV shows and movies that we all hold so dear. On his YouTube channel he's keeping memories near. Dave Sundstrom, bringing back the good stuff, oh yeah.